Thank you everyone for coming today to the New Songs for Butte Mining Camp. This is our third set of musicians as part of this project. I'm Carrie Coe, Program Director at the Clark Chateau, and we have today Christy Hayes Pickett and Ben Pickett, who again are our third commissioned musicians. We got a grant from the Montana Cultural Trust to help fund musicians to reinvent and reinvigorate old Butte mining and labor songs. And this project is really special to me. We just found out we got more funding for it for 10 more musicians after the first 4 through the National Endowment for the Arts. And we're very excited about that. This idea came about with me. I was reading a couple of journal articles, and they were mentioning lots of different Butte mining and labor songs, and one of them was referencing this little pamphlet that was put out by the industrial workers of the world called New Songs for Butte Mining Camp. I think that it was issued in either 1917 or 1918, right after the speculator mine disaster. And it has a lot of song lyrics that are very specific to Butte and Butte circumstances. And the thought was that if these songs became popular in the mines, maybe it would radicalize and organize Butte miners to join the IWW. But there's lots beyond this little book. There's lots and lots of labor and mining songs that people were already singing in the mines. There's not really evidence that anyone ever sang these songs in the mines or that they came to life, but part of the goal of this project is to take some of these songs that maybe never came to life and others that have now been forgotten and bring them back to life in a contemporary context. So we've already had Aaron Parrott was our first musician, and then we had the band Miss Cincinnati with Jessica Catchon, and now today we have Christy Hayes Pickett and Ben Pickett. Welcome. Thank you. I'll pass this around if anyone wants to look at this. So tell us about what you've been up to.
Well, when we started, in the very beginning when Carrie mentioned that she'd like me to take part in this, we talked about a song, The House in Centerville. You mentioned it, and I really did like it. And then we were going to do that as we were researching, and then we kind of delved deeper into what that song was, and it was essentially a World War II song, right? One song, with like 2 words changed to make it Annie and Centerville. And then I just kind of like, I didn't really like it anymore, because I was like, it was a popular song, and then I couldn't find, there was supposedly sheet music for it, and I do kind of read piano sheet music, then I'm like, well, how do I find the sheet music, and then how do I like find a recording of what this song actually sounded like? And so when we were researching, we both really liked this song, No Sheep Herders in Butte, because what a weird title.
Yeah, No Sheep Herders in Butte.
Yeah. And we took this one with us as well, not thinking that we would use it, but it was kind of like the backup. And I don't know, this one was like super easy to adapt, I would say. I kind of already had it in my head that I wanted Ben to play banjo on it, because I wanted an old-timey or an Irish vibe or something like that.
Mm-hmm. This one's more historically relevant too, I think. The other one was just kind of a love song. This one is politically relevant, and it talks about a couple old mining tools like a laner, which is basically the first hammer drill that was made 1897 by John Laner from Denver, and it actually cut down on a lot of people with miner's lung, because it had compressed air and water through it, so it cut back on the dust. And they had like a form of hammer drill, but his was the first kind of modernized version of it. And then he went into business with Ingersoll Rand in 1912, and they teamed up, and that's still a company today. They basically invented the hammer drill and the jackhammer. So that's what a laner is in the song. Yeah.
We were reading through this, and there's a word there. This guy is calling these other guys geeks, and we were like, what is that? And we were a little, worried that that wasn't PC. But we researched that, what that means, and it means, like, what does it mean? Like a dude?
Yeah,
like
it's
a
just
dumb dude?
early 1900s slang. It's kind of like an informal, rude way to call somebody a guy. Just didn't seem to be used very much past the early 1900s, but I guess it was common then.
And like
Feel
we were
free to bring
talking
it
about-
back.
Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. We were talking, some of the songs do have inappropriately dated language, yeah,
Mhm.
some
Yeah.
racial slurs and such, so
Yeah, we
it's
read
my
a
hope
few.
that musicians will edit those out.
Yeah.
If we want to be historically reviving certain things, but maybe not.
Right. Yeah, we were gonna edit that out, but then we were like,
Yeah.
oh, I guess it's just a dumb guy.
Yeah.
So we kept it.
And another relevance too is the kind of the whole point of the song is when basically people who were either ranchers or sheep herders or worked in the fields in Dillon would come up in the wintertime and try to get mining jobs. So it's kind of they didn't want them coming up and taking the jobs, and there was some legislative, tax, political stuff that was involved too, but for the main part, they wanted the sheep herders to stay in Dillon. So that's basically the history.
Want to do it?
Yeah, shall
All
we?
right.
Last night I saw Billy May standing on Broadway in Maine, talking with two geeks from the country. Oh, they said 'twas from Dillon he came. They wanted to meet Dave Cronin, who would put them to work in the sweat. But the answer they got from McMahon, look at those two bows are rambling. We don't need you to run 'em up a stick, or to scoop down the rock in a shoe. So go back to your home down in Dillon. We don't want no sheep herders in Maine. If you don't know how to run a meter, then stay back from the mines on the hill. With your legislative stuff and your cow country blood, when you hand us that copper tax bill. We don't need you to run 'em up a stick, or to scoop down the rock in the shoe. So go back to your home down in Dillon. We don't want no sheep herders in Maine. We don't need you to run 'em up a stick, or to scoop It's a hit.
It's great.
I think I'm gonna put it on a record.
Yeah. So, do you remember where you found that song and all the stuff?
Just in a folder.
It was in that with all
The
the.
Google Drive or the no.
It was in here.
Mm-hmm. Somewhere.
Yeah.
Does it have a songwriter attributed to it, or I'll have to dig back? I need to look at it.
So it was written. It does. I should have brought it because it's sitting on my kitchen table. I photocopied all that stuff.
Yeah, I
It
don't
was
remember.
written to a tune that already existed, which, like, what I found out with researching a lot of this stuff, everything was written to something else. There was, like, very
Mhm.
little creativity. Or, I mean, I hate to say it like that, but, like, what we consider now as, like, creating original music, it was a totally different thing back then. It was a lot more regurgitation of popular melody. I think
Mhm.
people really just wanted to hear something familiar, and it's like, that's what I gathered reading a lot of that stuff. It's to this song from one.
Yeah. Well, I think they thought it was easy to spread that way because then people would be like, oh,
Right.
it's
Right.
old Dixie, but state views. That
Yeah.
or
And like, if
Yeah.
you know, it's not, we don't have the they didn't have the technology that we have recorded music, so it's like, you can't retain
right.
and absorb
Oral
something.
transmission. Yeah.
It has to be the tune of something else, but
What's
it,
kind of the nature of folk music?
Mhm.
yeah.
No,
We
I
did
love-
not write
I
it,
love
it's not, the
music.
music is not to that.
Yeah.
We don't know what that
Yeah.
tune was. so.
Yeah. No, I love that. I mean, that was my hope is that people go all different directions with this.
Yeah.
I think that's beautiful. I love what you did.
Thanks.
Would you be willing to read some of those lyrics? Because
Sure.
we get kind of, but I think they're really interesting.
The chorus is, we don't need you to run a muckstick, which is just a shovel. That's what you kind of figured that out.
I thought that was kind of a dig too, because I'm not really sure, but it seems like it's kind of a dig at, the cattle ranchers, like that would be the only thing that they'd be able to do.
Capable
is
of,
to
yeah.
run a shovel, and we don't even want you to do that.
For to scoop down the rock in the chute. So go back to your home down in Dillon. We don't want no sheep herders in Butte. It's actually, we don't want sheep herders in Butte, but we put the no in there because it just sounds better.
Mhm.
And then last night I saw Billy McMahon, who were these real people.
Yeah, Billy McMahon and Danny Cronin.
Mm-hmm.
I
They must have
couldn't
been
find
bosses.
much on it, but I think they were just like high up bosses of mine. But I did find that they were real people.
And I guess these guys, standing on Broadway in Maine, talking with two ginks from the country, the dudes. They said 'twas from Dillon they came. They wanted to meet Danny Cronin, who would put them to work in the sweat. But the answer they got from McMahon put those two bows, B-O-E-S, a ramblin' you bet. And I guess bows would be,
Bow hunt. So that, I think is reference, but I think it's a short for bow hunt, which I think
Okay.
might have an abbreviation system.
oh really? What is bow hunt?
We'll be the,
bow hunt?
yeah, right?
Yeah.
It's,
Someone from the Balkans, basically.
yeah,
Czechoslovakian,
I think that might be
Hungarian,
a short reference
yeah.
for.
yeah, Croatian, Slovenian,
Yeah.
Serbian,
Mhm.
yeah. The Serbs are
Bohemia.
Slovenia, yeah, Slavic,
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
If you
even if
don't-
it's derogatory, it references Butte's diversity, I guess.
Sorry.
It might be derogatory elsewhere, but
Yeah.
I don't think it really is here. People pretty
yeah.
proud to say I'm a bohunk or
Mhm.
I'm a wop or
Mhm.
whatever, Yeah, they own it here.
Mhm.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's interesting to.
Cronin would have been hiring for the Never Sweat then, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, the sweat, it was.
The sweat, yeah.
Apostrophe to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Then the last verse is, if you don't know how to run a laner, which Ben explained
Mhm.
what that was, then stay back from the mines on the hill with your legislative stuff and your old county,
County.
Cow County bluff. So, what does that mean?
there was, I don't know, I looked it up,
I guess it's the copper tax.
yeah, there was some bill that I guess was passed in Dillon, I'm not too sure on
Yeah,
that.
I know that's what
Yeah.
all
And it's kind of funny because the International Sheepherders Union, there are only 4 of them in the whole world, and one of them is still in operation down
Yeah.
down here. It's here. It's not in Dillon. It's here in Butte.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
The Sheepshearers Union building.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
I love
and
that
they
sign.
still manufacture the tools that they need to shear the sheep.
Wow.
And yeah, there's one here. There's one in Australia. I'm thinking probably Scotland, and I'm not sure if maybe Canada or New Zealand. I forget. Yeah,
Yeah, we'll have to, for further study.
it's something I want to really read up, do a lot more reading on.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I would just take a few minutes to talk a little bit about YouTube.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I first picked that House in Centerville song to give you because you live up there on the hill in Walkerville,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
So tell us about yourself.
We've both been musicians for a long time. I mean, I've been since you've been young, and me as well. And until pre-pandemic, I was absolutely a full-time touring musician for many, many years, and that changed totally, and which is fine because I'm tired of traveling constantly. But I'm actually just got my master's back from my newest record, so I'm going to be releasing a new record. I haven't released a record since 2018, so it's pretty exciting. And yeah, I've been a songwriter. You know, I started writing songs when I was 14 years old, and I didn't start playing professionally until way late in the game, which, I mean, what the industry would consider late. I was 27 when I started to pursue music professionally. Before that, I went to school for forestry, and I lived in Alaska for a while, and in parts of the West, and then I decided I wanted to pursue art full time, and I did that steadily for the next 15 years, and I bought Edwin Dobbs' house up in Walkerville in 2015.
No way.
And it's now a writers in residence program that I run called Dear Butte, and we live next door, and we continue to perform and write, and Ben's working on a record right now, and we just try to facilitate art, our own and others, and that's real important to us. So yeah.
Great. Well, we're lucky to have you here. Thank you. You've been a big supporter of this project from the beginning, writing letters of support and the wrote the grants, so I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Any questions from the audience?
I didn't. Oh, I was saying I didn't realize. Sorry, you go.
No, you go, you go.
I was just getting caught in either I had forgotten, or I didn't know that Dear Butte was at Dobbs' house.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. I'm not sure.
Yeah, we
Okay.
had kind of a pact.
Yeah.
That that's what it would become, and
That's
unfortunately,
awesome.
he passed away before he could see it
Right.
open its doors. But we always had that agreement that that's what it would be.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
So you guys took these old songs, but you created your own original music to
Yeah.
go
Mhm.
with it. So
Yeah,
that's-
we created the structure. All the words to this particular one were already written. A lot of them seem to be kind of half written or just in a fashion that you need to repeat a lot of the words. But Ben wrote the chorus to this, and then I just kind of wrote the verse melody, and we structured it to what would be considered, I don't know, a normal folk song structure, classic. folk
Pretty
song.
waltz.
Yeah.
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 Now, have you just done one song, or have you done several songs?
We've just done one song. Yeah.
You plan
It'd be fun to do more.
Yeah.
We would definitely do more.
Yeah, so as part of the grant, each musician is commissioned to do one song. Some have gotten excited and ended up doing
Carrie,
3 or 4.
I think this is an album in the making
Well, that's the goal.
for
yeah.
the chateau.
Yeah, so we are recording each of these musicians, and we hope to, so through, we do sell, tickets to the shows, and we hope to save that money and press a vinyl record at the very end of it, and yeah, it'd be really cool.
Yeah.
And I have a fantasy of like a reunion concert, but I don't know, I couldn't pay anybody, so that would be like, come to Butte and play for free.
There's a lot of cool songs in,
Yeah.
in all those folders. I mean, it's fun.
Adjacent to the folk fest or something. I
Yeah,
love that
it could be an open invite.
I could totally make it
Yeah,
sell
yeah.
tickets and have it at the Cobalt.
I think it'd be really cool in the end, and then all the musicians could meet each other and stuff.
Now, are all the musicians from Butte, or are they from?
So no, the goal is to get people from all around Montana. Though the initial ones that we did have, so we've had one person, the first Aaron Parrott, he lives in Helena, but he was born in Butte. And then Jessica Catron and Miss Cincinnati, they're out of Missoula. And then Christy's the third group, they're here in Butte, and Jeff Sherman and his band Cash for Junkers, which is after Christy. The band is from Missoula, but Jeff lives in Butte now. So a lot of the initial ones have strong Butte connections to start with, just because it was easier for me to get their buy-in because they're already interested in Butte. But my goal is actually to get musicians who may not have thought of Butte very much to come to Butte and be asked to engage with this material, because the musicians come through 2 short residencies. The first one is a research residency where they come to the archives, they dig through that material and think about their song. They have a few days in Butte to just be. They stay at the Jacobs House and walk around. If they're not from here, they could visit the tourist attractions, or I should call them the historic tourist attractions, and think about the material, because I think a lot of this material is relevant to especially musicians' concerns today, finding work, making a living, surviving. So that was kind of my goal there. But yeah, folks like Christy, I knew they were already all in heart-wise with that kind of.
So do the musicians have to apply to be chosen?
No,
or is it like, hey, Christy, I think you'd really be great for this?
That's what I did. I just, and I took, since I wrote the grant, I took the liberty. I get a pick.
You get to pick.
Yeah, but Christy actually helped me come up with a list of musicians. So I'll be soliciting people that she knows. A lot of them she already knows, all throughout Montana, and then some others that I looked up, because I also would like, I want diversity in terms of where they live in musical style. I mean, in Montana, musical styles and just backgrounds.
Right.
And yeah, so I don't know if he'll say yes, but there's a jazz musician in Bozeman. I'm gonna go for it. Yeah, to just like try to have a real variety. It doesn't work for all kinds of styles of music, but
Right.
there's a range. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I thought this was interesting because when you were explaining the Rainer and everything, immediately I went to the mining museum and the tour there, where they're explaining that very thing and how revolutionary it was, and the safety measures that they really were undertaking below ground, because it was, of course, economically feasible for them to do so.
Yeah.
So it's great to have that connection there. Like, oh yeah, I know what they're talking about. So, when they come here, it would be great to send them down to the mine, down under the orphan girl, to the mining museum, to see like what these songs are written about.
Yeah, it was interesting researching that and finding out about it, and
Yeah.
how kind of a huge part of history it was,
Yeah.
and learning about that guy. He had a similar drill a few years before that nobody wanted to use because it was even more dust than before. But then that's when he added the hollow steel tube that
Yeah.
the air and water went through.
And pretty much changed, the history of drilling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Things that you just don't
Ingersoll-
think of.
Yeah, that Ingersoll Rand company that
Yeah.
he teamed up with in 1912 is still a company.
Yeah. Oh, huge. Yeah.
Mhm, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that song in particular is just rich with references and things, that
Yeah.
It really is, it
could
really,
be its own little master's thesis or something. We really
Yeah.
added to it.
That's why we really liked it.
Mhm.
You know, it's just it was so Butte.
Yeah.
The
Mhm.
Irish supervisors' names and the
Mhm.
Yeah, a lot of these
Same with
songs name
sheepers.
individuals, you know, in that example, they're positively, you know, referenced, but in a
Yeah.
lot of these songs, they're like naming people they don't like at all. Yeah. Cool.
okay.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah,
thank you
guys for coming.
You guys are also going to be on my radio show.
Yeah.
Today at KBMF 102.5 FM if you want to hear the song again. And then, of course, we hope you'll come to the performance at the Clark Chateau tomorrow at 7 p.m. And they're recording tonight in Len Waters' studio for that future album. And all of the recordings are being posted on the Clark Chateau website too once we get them mastered. So we have Aaron Currents is up there already, and soon we'll have Miss Cincinnati